that out, but those billions of dollars, can we at least siphon off a little bit of that and distribute it across fairly for all of the American citizens? And that's essentially where the freedom dividend comes into play, is to say, you know what, technology, awesome. Thank you for taking away that, it's labor-intensive job. Let's now give people a chance to look into something that they are actually very passionate about, whether it might be coaching the little league soccer because I love soccer, but nobody pays the parent coach to do that work. I love woodworking. I want to become an artisan and actually be able to share my craft and actually get paid for it, but I couldn't do that because that also wasn't a high paying job. You now have the freedom dividend to essentially give you that lift to be an entrepreneur or to just generally be a good member of society and contribute in a different way.
So playing devil's advocate, I think a lot of people hear $1,000 a month will make people wicked lazy.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
So what would you say to that?
I would be surprised to see how people can live on $12,000 a year. So if they can, by all means, then don't work. But I would be impressed.
But it's just like being on a salary. It's just like, the check's coming in, so you don't necessarily have to bust your ass as hard or work as hard. Like, my groceries are paid for this month. I don't have to exert myself the extra effort. And I think why a lot of people have friction to it is because, like, as Americans forever, we've rewarded the extra work, the intestinal fortitude, the initiative. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, America's essentially founded on that intense
that grind, baby boy.
Ethic, right? But here's the thing. So studies, if you look at past studies on universal basic income and where it's been done, there were specifically two groups of people who chose not to work because they were receiving essentially the freedom dividend. They were young people who chose to go to school, or they were parents who decided to stay at home with their young kids. I wouldn't argue that would be a bad thing.
Oh, so kids get 1,000 too?
No, so it's the parents that were staying at home, right? Because they want to be able to be there for those formative years of learning, right? The engagement, interaction with a parent, spending time with them, listening to them, talk to them and read books to them. That kind of learning that's happening in those years, those were the kinds of people who chose not to work as they were receiving that universal basic income. So those people went back to work after, when the kids grew up, they started going to school. Then they're like, okay, great. I still have this $1,000 a month or whatever the money was for that particular study, and I can now use it to now decide where do I want to go to work, where do I want to spend my time. So I think it's a reasonable question to be asking about what does happen when people have the freedom dividend in their hands. But I think people would be surprised how easy it is for their cynicism to be displaced, because people do want to contribute to society. There is a social identity that does come with working, and so people will want to gravitate towards, okay, I've got this floor now that I can work with. What do I want to do? I love to bake. Can I make my own bakery and open up my own business? Sure.
Not with 12 G's. You need more than that.
Well, you need more than that, but I think that's the thing. Is
it gives you the initial. I get it.
It gives you the initial investment to start thinking about how can I do that, right?
I'll tell you right now, if I had 1,000 a month, I would easily rent out a studio space. 1,000 extra.
Right? How many more productions would you be able to do by doing this? And to be able to
we would not slow down.
Right? To be able to have all the podcasts that you could possibly have, with all the content that you want to be able to share with your listeners. Who knows?
I get it. Question though, how does the government, how are they going to regulate the 1,000? Like, what if you dump me 1,000? I was like, I'm just going to go buy mad weed.
So here's the thing. So you're going to go buy some mad weed, which for Andrew, he's going to legalize it. So that's
all right. So I'm going to go buy mad Percocet.
Oh, Lord. Now we're going to the black market. Yeah. But either way, you're putting money into an economy. Granted, this one's a black market economy, but you're putting it into the economy. So you spent, just say you spent $100 on the Percocet, but that $100 in that person's pocket that they sold it to, they're not going to take that $100 and
what if they buy more
spend
pills though?
Spend it on groceries, or if they spend. I mean, let's legalize it a little bit. If you're going to a weed store, right? Then that money gets into that store, and then what happens then? They can hire another employee because if the demand is there, right, for the market. But then that employee is getting the $20 an hour. They're going to be able to use that to buy groceries or send their kid to daycare or go out on that date that they've always wanted to go out.